Hirschberger.
I'm Ross Everett.
And today we got a chance to see The Prisoners, brand new in movie theaters. And if you don't have a chance to go to the theater, you can always go to netflix.com/SourceFed, get your free month of instant streaming, and you can watch movies there.
The Prisoners is a movie that stars Hugh Jackman, Terrence Howard,
Jake
Maria
Gyllenhaal.
Bello, Jake Gyllenhaal, Paul Dano,
Viola Davis.
Wonderful cast, phenomenal cast.
Yeah.
Really long. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes, but it doesn't feel it. It was really entertaining, falls apart a bit in the third act, but saves itself in the end.
This movie is super effing intense, so if you're gonna go see it, make sure that you know that going into it, but that it's really, really good.
The plot of this movie is that it's a family that's torn apart by, or two families really, that
families.
are torn apart when their each respective daughter is kidnapped, and they're trying to figure out who the kidnapper is. Jake Gyllenhaal plays Detective Loki, who's the snazzy young hotshot detective that's never
lost a case.
Never lost a case. I don't know if you rank them with wins and losses, but if you do, this guy is batting 100. It's a very God-fearing town, God-loving family.
Yeah, it actually takes place in Pennsylvania, like right in the area where I grew up. So that was a little bit creepy for me because it felt super real. They did a good job capturing that area and that lifestyle.
I was about to say, like, the season, I went in there and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I feel cold, you feel the rain. I thought the director did a phenomenal job really capturing the autumn, November, Thanksgiving feel of the film. The writer did a tremendous job building these characters.
You had a huge boner for the writer.
I loved the writer. I hadn't seen any of his other stuff before. He's a fairly new writer. But when you look at this character, Detective Loki, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, there are so many just like levels to this guy. You see he has tattoos along his fingers. He's asking people about what year they were born. And like while that doesn't necessarily play into the story and how he goes about solving anything, it helped make them real. And when you can make a character real, you're able to relate to a story a hell of a lot more.
A hell of a lot more. And I mean, and the story was just kind of woven together like a perfectly made basket. Like it took you every direction you wanted to go. And yes, even though the movie was 2.5 hours long, it was a 2.5 hour long movie where I was at the edge of my seat, like leaning forward the entire time. And now it's time for likes
and gripes.
My likes for this film, I thought it was incredibly well done. The writing, the directing, but my favorite part had to be the performances. Hugh Jackman, you are so good at what you do. Please never stop doing it, and I will give you all my money to watch everything you do because you were so good, especially in this film. Viola Davis was amazing, as always. Everybody was really good, but Hugh Jackman and Viola Davis in particular took the cake for me.
Yeah, she had that moment where you could really see her pleading for her daughter back. I don't cry a lot in movies, but Hugh Jackman's performance, like I was like, am I gonna cry? Like it almost pulled me out of it because I was like, all right, Ross, put up your guard here.
Be a man.
Don't get into it.
Be
Gotta
a
stay
man.
strong.
Whatever, real men show tears.
Yeah.
And dislikes, there wasn't really much about this movie that I didn't like, except for the fact that it was a little bit scary for me. I know I'm a big wuss when it comes to scary movies, but this kind of thing, there were a couple moments that just, it was so intense, like my heart hurt.
Bone chilling.
Bone chilling.
My likes, I really liked the performances, as you said. The writing was great. I liked there was a puzzle element to it where you're always guessing about what is going to happen and what parts connect, because really good movies and really good scripts will introduce something that seem like they don't matter, and then they will call them back and be like, oh my gosh, that thing was so cool. So that I really liked about it. Dislikes, there's one part in the third act, I'm not going to list it as a spoiler, but I felt like there was an action on one of the characters that I was like, that wasn't justified, that was undoubted, and that kind of pulled me out of it a little bit. And it was a little long, but also, on top of that, I can't tell you what I'd cut from it, so I think it just has to be long. It's just a long story. So my final thoughts are, if you have a really long evening, if it's raining, do go see this movie. It was phenomenal. It was a great story to be told.
And what would you give it?
I would give it a 7 out of 10.
Yay! So my final thoughts on this film are that it was beautifully done. The performances were absolutely fantastic, and from someone who studied acting, it's just a treat to get to watch this. It's really tugging on the heartstrings. It's a very serious, dramatic movie that you'll be thinking about for days. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a 9 out of 10. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
So we're not the only ones that got a chance to see this movie. On IMDb right now, it's rocking 8 out of 10 stars.
And on Rotten Tomatoes, the critics gave it a 79%, and the viewers gave it an 84%.
So overall, pretty well received. Could this be an Oscar contender? I don't know.
Maybe some actors. I don't think the movie itself will get a Best Picture nod.
Do you think maybe actors though?
I think Hugh Jackman.
Maybe
Hugh Jackman, maybe Paul Dano. Paul Dano was so good in this movie. He plays such a good psycho villain / half-wit.
Question mark person.
There were some times in this movie that he would do something and my jaw would just
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for joining us for the New Movie Thing show. If you don't have a chance to go to the movies, again, you can always go to netflix.com/SourceFed. Get that free month of instant streaming, yo. I'm Trisha Hirschberger.
I'm Ross Everett. We'll see you guys next week.
Yeah. That was such a news anchory sign
We'll see you guys
and we'll
next
see you
week.
guys next week.